And it looks like he's made his move. I'm going to replay that again just so you can witness the move in all its glory. And he has moved his units up very aggressively. Warrior onto the gem tile. He has pre-mated his chieftain. And what he's trying to do here is he wants me to kill and stomp one of these guys so that his chieftain will get rage. And then he will be able to get off a massive chieftain bomb the next turn. And he's got these axe throwers there in a very aggressive position as well on this row. It makes them very dangerous, and they can trade pretty easily against my units, especially my high value unit, which is the spy. One move he didn't actually account for is a second Gerati being played on this witch, and having my soldier come up here, stomping the witch on this attack tile, and being able to get the chieftain too. And if I had a Gerati in my hand right now, I would strongly consider playing that move. But the fact that he doesn't see it means that if I play my next turn right, I might be able to catch him unawares. Now, with this move having been made, let's figure out how I want to think about making my counter move. One thing I need to take account of is this spy. This spy is within 2 squares of 2 units, this warrior and this axe thrower, and either of them could come up to one of these squares here, KO my spy in 3 hits, and then stomp it. And that would be a good trade for him, because an axe thrower or a warrior for a spy is a solid trade for a tribe, especially if you don't have to spend a tidal wave or a meat. So I'd really like to prevent him from getting that trade off. So I'll be wanting to do something about my spy's positioning this round as well. Interestingly enough, this warrior here is kind of blocking this chieftain, and he cannot move his chieftain up into a threatening position while this warrior is here. It's kind of funny that it worked out that way, but so it goes. And a problem for me, as I tested out, is if I kill this warrior, I cannot stomp him, because this will give the chieftain rage, and there are any number of combinations in which a chieftain could get a really massive bomb off onto my formation there. But if I leave him dead, then he has a very easy path to pick off one of my medics, and that is simply to move forward and move here and move here and attack the medic and then stomp it. So you'd have enough AP to stomp the medic there. Or he could use it, say I do have 1 AP left, so I could, say, move my medic up here, in which case he could go 1, 2, 3, same thing. And I can't move both of my medics out of the way. So that's problematic. It's best if I just leave this warrior alive. That severely limits his offensive options, and my goal is to stretch this out as long as possible, get as many threats on the board, and force him to be the aggressor. And with enough threats on the board, he's either likely to make a mistake, or he'll have to spend some of his offensive items to get some damage on me. So, what then is the move? Well, the best move to keep my spy safe is to move him back just 1 square, and that does cramp my formation a bit. I don't have much room on my back lines to move my medics around, but at the same time, a cramped back line is also one that is more safe from tidal waves, because your units in front are blocking the path to your units in the back, the extremely valuable medics. Now I've got 4 AP left. So what should I do with them? I really need to get more units on the board. And the best unit to have on the board against a clumped formation is a Pyro. The best synergy of Team Fortress is using the Spy and the Pyro together. The Spy forces your opponent to clump his units up in order to keep your Spy from going behind them. And a Pyro is great at dealing full damage to units that are clumped up. So they're a great combination to have on the board at the same time, and I want to get that out here as soon as possible. Now, since I moved my Spy back, I only really have 2 options to move my medic, or if I want to move this medic, I only have 1, which would be moving up to this square. But I think this is okay, at least for now. It's the better of the 2 medics to move. I only end up exposing 1 unit, which is this heavy, to being vulnerable, and if he ends up targeting the heavy, then he's probably not sending the Chieftain after me, and that's going to end up being a good thing for me. So now I've freed up that tile. I want to deploy this Pyro, and I want to move him down. I really don't want to put a sand... My goal here is to sandwich this Pyro. You really don't want to sandwich a Pyro on a deploy tile, because then you cannot deploy units from that deploy tile until you've actually used your sandwich. So you should really make sure to avoid sandwiching a unit on a deploy tile. On the other hand, if you're a tribe player and you see someone who has sandwiched a unit in front of a deploy tile and the deploy tile is open, it may be worth it to try and just spend a tidal wave to move that sandwiched unit back on the deploy tile. And you can see here that I've been very careful that both of my sandwiched units here are totally impervious to tidal waves that move them backwards. It's the strength of my formation. And the last thing I want to do to defend myself from tidal waves is I just want to drop a scout there. Scouts you can deploy for free, and what this does is it says if he for some reason decides to tidal wave all my units back, then my heavy and my soldier will stay on the second rank instead of being pushed onto my deploy tile. It's something that I can do for free, and it turns another card for me. And one of the main goals of this move is to turn a lot of cards to draw that second Jurati, because if I can draw that second Jurati and this formation holds up, it's possible that I may be able to get the killing blow on the Chieftain without him anticipating a complicated move involving 2 Juratis. And turning 3 cards with 7 remaining items in my deck gives me a slightly less than 50% chance of drawing that Jurati. So I've got decent odds. And even if not, it's not the end of the world. This is also a good position for a sandwich because it forces him back, and it also allows him potentially to go all the way to the gem tile later on. My original plan was a Crystal Rush, and that's still the plan, but I just need to deal with this Chieftain first. This would also potentially allow me to trade 2 for 1 if he stays clumped up, but we'll see. But really, my only objective is to prevent him from getting a Chieftain Bomb off, prevent him from getting a really nice trade with one of these forward units here, developing my board, and making him make the hard decisions. And that is my turn. Come on, big Jurati, big Jurati, big Jurati, big Jurati, big Jurati, big Jurati. Yeah, I got it. All right, I got it. Okay, we're in business. So we'll see. Next turn, this witch could be at big risk if he doesn't decide to fire off his Chieftain Bomb. And I don't see a good target for a Chieftain Bomb, so we'll see what he ends up deciding to do.